many tips on getting rats. So many. You need to get more than one. Don't buy cages that say they're for rats, because those are usually too small. You need to get like a much bigger cage than you think you're going to get. Do a lot of research on what food you can and can't feed them, but they can eat a lot. They can eat a lot of food that people can eat. There's been a couple of times I've accidentally ran out of rat food and they just ate bread for a day. They loved that. Oh my god. Like a guinea pig cage. Rats like verticality. So the thing with stuff like guinea pigs and rabbits and stuff like that is they need more horizontal space, but rats like climbing. So all of my cages that I have 2 cages. I swap them back and forth. I made sure they have vertical bars so that they can climb up the sides because they like climbing on things. Rats need less open space and more just like space to crawl around in. So you can like fill up their cage with like tons of toys and hammocks and stuff. Things like guinea pigs and rabbits usually need more running around space. And needs more like flat space for them to waddle around in because they don't climb straight up things, right? More ferret cages. I would recommend looking into ferret cages. Ferret cages are really good for rats. The things that are usually marketed as rat cages I've only ever used for sick rats. Because they're really small, or like a cage that I would use to take them to the vet. Get a tall tower cage right next to their main cage. They like to sit on top of it. Yeah, well, like I said, he keeps climbing up the side when I leave the door open and just sitting on the very top. But then he gets scared because he realizes he's all alone and there's nothing up there. Yeah, they like to sit on top and stare at things. Rats like being up high, but they need lots of places to burrow into, lots of hammocks. They love to climb. When I used to have vertical blinds in one of the places I used to live in, and I had a rat that I would let run around my room, and she was also pretty blind. I don't know what it is about blind rats. Maybe it's because they don't understand like how high up they're going, but it's always my most blind rats that climb the highest. She would climb up the blinds and then get like stuck at the top because she wouldn't know how to get down. They love being up but don't know how to get down. They don't think that far. And then I would have to pull her off my blinds. She'd get mad at me, and I'm like, bro, you are freaking out. I don't want you to sit up there until your little legs are weak and you let go. You want a ferret so bad? I've heard they're stinky too, but I think if you just clean them a lot, they're not that bad at all. Ferrets, aren't their scent glands removed when they're babies? Male rats can get pretty musky too. Female rats, they won't. That's another thing. The male rats are a lot, because they get, like, the musk. They get, like, this oily substance on their skin that makes them smell. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a very specific smell. It's musk. It's a rat musk. But they don't have, like, glands that they, like, it's weird. I don't know. You'd have to look into it. But I like boy rats more because they tend to be a lot more chilled, and girl rats are a lot more energetic. Do I buy them? I've never taken in a wild rat. I wouldn't recommend doing that because wild rats carry a lot of diseases, unfortunately. And there's no real way to know like if they have it or not. Same thing with the mice. But there's like a very dangerous disease that they can carry that is more dangerous in their feces than anything else. It's why you're supposed to be so careful when you move into a house and you find rat or mouse droppings. You need to be very, very, very careful cleaning it up, like wear a mask, wear gloves, because the dust from it can actually carry it and make you sick. Girl rats are so well behaved. They don't fight as much. They will fight, but they don't fight as much. The only rats I've ever had like running on wheels were girl rats. One of my female rats would literally run on her wheels so much, and it was so squeaky that I had some of my girls in a cage and then my boys in like the bigger cage because I had more boys at the time, and I just moved her to the opposite side of where I was, like the opposite side of the house that I was in while I was sleeping, because it would squeak so loud. You would pick her up, you could feel her little rat abs. Her whole body was just muscle. She is like... Rats are extremely social. That's why you have to get more than one. If you have one and you spend like all day, every day with it, like it's probably fine, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's just easier to keep them entertained if you have more than one. Like baboons? No. But they like having little rat friends. They'll sleep together. They'll sleep in little cuddle piles. They keep each other entertained. Rats are super, super social. Yes, they'll play Commander together. That's the real reason I bought my, the last deck that I bought is so that my rats could play Commander. True, they can't speak to you, right? Like, they do talk. Rats are very vocal, but you can't hear it most of the time. Usually the only times you'll hear rats making noises is if they're fighting. They speak in a higher frequency than you can understand. There's like little things that you can buy that'll like pick it up and you can hear it. I think it's like the same things you can use for like... I can't remember what they're called. But I know some people get them when they're trying to like see if they have bats. One of my rats bullies the other one a lot. Dude, I feel that I kind of want to like get them 2 different food bowls right now because Napkin changes the way that he tries to get food. Lately, when I've been putting the food in, he'll like stand in the doorway and try to block Tissue from getting to my hand when I'm putting the food in. And then Tissue will try and sneak a piece of food. If he's next to him, I'm like trying to think of how I should do it. Napkin just gets mad at Tissue when he grabs food at him, or at the same time as him. They're not like in an abusive rat relationship or anything like that. Although sometimes I've had to move them cages occasionally because Napkin just gets territorial. Ruthless, they're just territorial. And I got 2 boys, and Napkin's got a lot of testosterone. If he was younger and acting like this, I would have been more worried. But it's just he's been getting more and more this way the older he's gotten. And they're not like drawing blood or anything. They did once a very long time ago, but it was like an accident. It wasn't a bite mark. It was like his foot got stuck on the other one's face, and so one of them has a little scar above his eye. No bite marks or anything. Biting marks are like, that's when you know that you need to separate them, like they're having issues. I've had to get male rats fixed before because they just end up getting too much testosterone in their system once they hit rat puberty. And you can tell when it stresses them out. They'll be walking around all fluffed up all the time, and they'll be wanting to like cuddle with their friends, and then all of a sudden feel the need to like hop on them, and I've had them fixed a few times for that. But I don't think I'm gonna have to do that with Napkin. Like I said, if he'd been doing this when I first got him, I absolutely would have, but he should be fine. Like old age, there was one time where I did have a rat. It was one of the first rats I ever had that I had just alone, but that was back when I didn't have a job, and so I just carried him around on me like literally 24/7. He didn't have any issues until I finally got him a buddy. And then he was being literally bullied by a baby. He was socially awkward on rat terms. He didn't know how to interact with other rats for a while. So I felt really bad about that. So can definitely say that you should definitely always have more than one. But I got like a baby rat, and he was getting flipped and pinned by a baby rat. And he was a big chubby boy. But then he started getting really stressed out and puffy all the time and started like trying to like, he would treat my hand like a rat and would like grab onto it and like bite into my hand. Not like take a chomp out of my hand, but he would grip onto it and like dig his teeth and like vibrate on my wrist or my hand. That's what they do to each other when they're like trying to dominate them. And he would do it only when he was around the other rat for a long time. So I got him fixed and he was completely fine after that. I've had 2 others I think I had fixed for similar reasons. One of them was fine until he was a teenager, and then he was... Bruh. He was a lot. He was one of the ones that would cuddle with them and then randomly get really stressed out and puffy and start attacking them. And, like, a couple of the rats started hiding from him, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad. You can very much tell when they are having issues. Anyways, it's, like I said, it's pretty easy to fix with the boys. You just get them fixed, and they're chill. And I've had a lot of rats, so it's not super common either, but it does happen.